Hey, I'm Nathan Tabor with Handling Life. What I want to talk with you about today is pride. Do you have a problem with pride? And if you're not sure, how do you know if you have a problem with pride? I know for a number of years, I struggled immensely with pride. And for a long time, I didn't even realize it. I didn't know what was really the issue in my life. And for a long time, I didn't even know I had a problem. You know, most people who have a pride problem in their life, they don't realize it at first because it's pride. I mean, hindsight 2020, I can look back and be like, wow, should have seen that in my own life. Others saw it, but I didn't. And then the second part of it is when someone does have pride and they realize it, like myself, it takes a while to work through it. It takes a while to deal with it, and it takes a while to admit it. Not only to yourself, but then to admit it to others. It takes some time. It takes some work. It's a process. I started to realize my pride problem when I started, getting to the point that I had conflict in all aspects of my life. No matter what I did, no matter what I said, no matter who was involved, things started to turn into arguments or disagreements. And as I started to look at what was the common thread, what was the common theme, what was the consistent issue in all of those areas, it was me. And when I first realized it, I was like in denial. I was like, that can't be. But over time, I realized it. So I want to talk with you about 3 ways to tell if you have a pride problem. And don't tune out on me. I'm not going to judge. I'm not going to condemn. I just want to talk with you about some things real quick to see if any of this maybe rings a bell for you. Or it might be somebody that that you could use this to deal with them. First way to tell if you have a pride issue, and this is not always like this is pride and this is not pride, because there is motivation, there is drive. But you strive to be the best that you can be, no matter the cost. So think about it this way, a little foot race between 2 little kids. And, as the 2 little kids round the corner, the one little kid kind of pushes or shoves, makes the other little kid trip. And, of course, he wins. And the little kid falls down or he stumbles and he comes in second. So, yes, that one little child won, but he really lost, right? Because he violated his integrity to win. So if you're violating your integrity, even though it was a little small thing, it was just a little nudge, it really didn't affect the big scheme of things, right? Didn't hurt anybody. You ever said that one before? But it wasn't right. Yes, you won. Many times I won, but looking back, I lost because I violated something that mattered. Even though it was small, it was still a violation. So, as we grow up, we normally grow out of those little foot races. We don't really do that much in our lives. But the same thing applies in how we deal with, our personal lives, our spouse or our family or our friends, in our profession, how we deal with people at work, how we deal with our finances, how we deal with our physical side of our lives, just basically it starts to affect all of us. We never grow out of that desire, per se, to be first. And you can be first and not violate your integrity. But if you're first and you're just stepping over everyone or on everyone, there's a problem there. Because when we're not humble before the Lord, when we're not doing the things the way God has asked us to do and requires us to do, we tend to become proud of our accomplishments. Well, I did this. I was able to grow my business, or I was able to get that promotion. Where's God in that? What did God do for you? What doors did He open? What did He protect you against? So we want to be our best. 100% be your best. But be your best the way God intends you to, the way God has called you to be. Not your best because you did everything that you could. You nudged a little here and there. Maybe you lied a little bit, or you didn't tell the truth, however you want to word that. Maybe you cut a few corners. Maybe you spread a few rumors about someone. Those are the types of things where it starts. Did Bernie Madoff embezzle $1 billion the first time? Probably not. He probably embezzled a little tiny amount that was insignificant to him. And that's where pride gets us. It looks at and says, well, that wasn't a big deal. And from the world side, it probably wasn't a big deal. From a spiritual side, it's a big deal. Because once you crack that door, then bigger things can come in. Second way to tell if you have a pride issue. You get really irritated, frustrated, angry over anything. It doesn't matter what it is, how small it is. It doesn't matter who's around. Little things set you off. Your fuse is very, very short. I used to be like that. It didn't take much to push me over the edge. And it didn't matter who was around. And I might not have, just come out and started yelling and screaming, but it changed my personality. And those who knew me the best knew, oh, this is, we've escalated here. It sets us off. It could be the waitress brings you the wrong food, the wrong type of drink. It could be someone cuts you off on the road. It could be at a gas station. It could be in business. It could be somebody, is rude to you. They cut you off while you're speaking in a business meeting. It can be anything. But it's normally something small, and then it builds into bigger things. Well, this bleeds over into our relationships. We don't treat people right. We don't listen anymore. And if we do listen, all we're thinking in the back of our mind is, what can I say to get this person back? I know, because that's what I used to think. We're always in a bad mood. We respond to others in grouchy tones and shortness. Things are never our fault. Things were never my fault. It was always somebody else's fault. Didn't matter. Was not going to accept responsibility because it wasn't mine. If someone else hadn't done what they had done, I wouldn't have done what I did. Had the other person done their job right, I wouldn't have messed up my part of the job. The fuse was short. Remember what I said at the beginning about being the center of conflict? This is part of that. It's where I was in the center of it. Everything around me was in turmoil, was in conflict because of my attitude, because of my personality change, because I had let pride take over. It was more important to me to be right and to show people that they were wrong than the big picture. And so you got to be careful with that. Third way of knowing you've got a pride issue, you're selfish. You care about yourself. You want to make sure that everything is about you. You will, buy stuff. You will make sure you've got what you need. You will do everything. But the problem is you don't think that. Everyone can see it in you. And they've said it to you. They've maybe said it in text or in writing or in passing, or when an argument's going on, they've said it. You're just out for yourself. You don't care about anybody else. But it's going right through one ear and out the other because it's always someone else's fault. But pride takes our flesh, takes the human side of us, which is already selfish and egotistical and self-centered, and just builds it up. just pushes it all together. We put our needs before the needs of others. And as we do that, as we become the center of everything, guess who also gets pushed out? Our relationship with God. God gets pushed to the bottom and gets pushed out. Because you can't serve two masters. And yes, that applies to the devil, right? And God. But you can't serve your pride. You can't be self-centered. You can't have this uncontrollable attitude. And you can't have all of these things that come with pride and still serve God. They don't mix. And so as you look through this, selfish side of things, we spend a lot of time when we're in our pride and we're selfish convincing ourselves that we do everything for everyone. So while we're the selfish ones, in our talk and the way we present ourselves, we're the one who we do everything for everybody. We do it for our family. We do it for our friends. We never hardly, say anything about anyone else because we want it to be about us. We're the ones who do things. Hey, it's okay to do things for people. There are a lot of people who I know who have giving hearts and they do it in the right mindset. I'm talking about people who do things for others because they want the glory out of it. They want to be the center of attention. There's a difference. So we got blinders on. Where prideful people have blinders. You see a horse that has blinders? They're right up beside their eyes so they look just straight forward. And that's, as pride takes over, that's what happens. It hurts us. It hurts others around us. It hurts our relationship with God. It makes us someone that we truly don't want to be, but then we can't even realize the person we are because of pride. Remember this, Proverbs 16:18 says, "Pride goeth before destruction, and a haughty spirit before a fall." Pride goeth before destruction. That means if you stay on the path you're on, if you continue to deal your life, or you go through your life being prideful, it's not going to end well. Your relationships aren't going to go well. Your work's not going to go well. Your health is not going to go well. Your relationship with God is not going to go well. And as someone who has been there, done that, got the t-shirt, got the scars, the sooner you can realize it, the sooner you can take the blinders off and start dealing with it, the better off you're going to be. So I hope you will really consider this. I hope you will really take this to heart. If you're always arguing with people, if you're always, trying to be the center of attention, if it's always about you, any of these issues I've talked about, and then others, really dig in and see, where are you? Where are you with God? Where are you with others? And you'll know, if you'll be honest to yourself, if you'll really examine what's going on in your life, you'll be able to tell if you have a pride issue. And I encourage you, if you do, deal with it. And this is not something you deal with once. This is something I still deal with. I still have to watch my pride on a daily, consistent basis to make sure it doesn't creep back in. If I can help you in any way, if you've got any questions or comments, please go over to handlinglife.org. Shoot me a message. I've got a free book there called The Guide to Giving God Control. Hope you'll download that. And I hope you'll take this information and see how it can help you in your life.